All right, let's dive into the 2025 action comedy Novocaine. Now, this film is built around one simple, kind of bizarre question, one that completely flips the script on what we expect from our action heroes.
So let's just jump right in with that question. I mean, really think about it. What if you couldn't feel pain at all? No stubbed toes, no burning your hand on the stove, nothing. Sounds kind of like a superpower, right? Well, that's the whole idea behind this movie. But here's the crazy part. This isn't just science fiction.
Yeah, believe it or not, the condition our main character has, it's totally real. It's called SEPA, and it's this incredibly rare genetic disorder that, you guessed it, stops a person from feeling any physical pain. And it's this one little piece of reality that kicks off a story that gets completely wild super fast.
So, who's the guy at the heart of all this?
Okay, so let's meet Nathan Kane. He's played by the great Jack Quaid. And Nathan is, well, he's a pretty mild-mannered guy. An assistant manager at a credit union. You know, he lives this super routine, careful life, even with this unbelievable condition. But as you can probably guess, that ordinary life, it's about to get blown to pieces.
And it all goes down with a classic action movie setup. A bank heist. But the way Nathan deals with it, yeah, it's anything but classic.
So it all kicks off with a little romance, actually. Nathan finally gets together with his coworker, Sherry. Things are looking up, but their brand new thing gets interrupted. And I mean violently interrupted. The very next morning, a gang of robbers takes over their bank, they murder Nathan's boss, and they drag Sherry out with them as a hostage.
And this is the moment. This is where everything changes. The police show up, but they're wounded, they're pinned down. And Nathan, this quiet, cautious guy who has literally never felt pain in his life, has this realization. He might be the only one who can actually do something about this. So what does he do? He decides to go after them himself.
And what happens next is just absolute chaos. Nathan jacks a police car, which leads to this insane, brutal fight in a restaurant kitchen. And this is where we really see his condition become this terrifying advantage. He needs to get a gun, so he just plunges his hand right into a deep fryer to grab it. He doesn't feel a thing, of course, but the damage, oh, it is horrific. It is very real. After that, he's on the trail, using a tattoo and a credit check to hunt down the rest of the gang.
But right when you think Nathan's got a handle on things, the movie throws this huge curveball at you. Remember Sherry, the woman he's risking his life to save? Well, it turns out she's the main robber's adoptive sister, and she was in on it the whole time. The original plan was for her to get close to Nathan to get the vault codes. The only problem? She actually started to fall for him for real.
The final showdown is just, it's bonkers. Nathan's arm is completely shattered, right? So he does something you just can't unsee. He uses his own broken bone sticking out of his arm as a weapon to kill the main bad guy. I mean, wow. He wakes up 2 weeks later from a coma, and because he saved an officer, he gets a pretty light sentence, house arrest and probation. And the film ends a year later. We see him visiting Sherry in prison, and they're just sharing a piece of pie. It's this quiet, weird, but kind of perfect ending to it all.
So that is one wild ride of a story. Now let's take a look behind the camera at the folks who actually made this thing happen.
So you've got Jack Quaid in the lead as Nathan, or Novocaine Kane. And think about the challenge he has here. How do you act scared or determined when your character literally can't react to the insane punishment his body is taking? It's got to be all in the performance, all in his eyes.
And then there's Amber Midthunder playing Sherry, and her character is so much more than just the damsel in distress. She's got this incredible balancing act to pull off. She has to be a believable love interest, a scared hostage, and a guilty accomplice, sometimes all in the same scene.
The rest of the cast is stacked too. You've got Ray Nicholson playing the main baddie, Simon. Jacob Batalon is on board as Nathan's online gaming buddy who helps him out. And then you have Betty Gabriel and Matt Walsh as the two detectives just trying to figure out what in the world is going on. At the helm, you have the directing team of Dan Burke and Robert Olson. And the whole crazy idea came from writer Lars Jacobson, who cooked up this amazing mix of action and really dark comedy.
So how does a movie this unique even get made? Well, looking at the timeline, it was actually a pretty quick trip from the page to the big screen.
I mean, this thing moved fast. It was first announced with Jack Quaid starring in late 2023. Just a few months later, in February 2024, Paramount jumps on board and Amber Midthunder signs on. The rest of the cast fills out in March, and by April, they're already shooting in South Africa. And then, boom, less than a year after that, it's playing in theaters across the US.
But here's the real question, right? Did it work? Was it a hit?
Let's look at the numbers and see what the critics had to say.
Okay, first up, the money. The movie was made for what's actually a pretty small budget in Hollywood terms, just $18 million, and it ended up making over $34 million around the world.
So no, it wasn't some massive, record-breaking blockbuster. But it almost doubled its budget. And in the movie business, that's what you call a moderate success. A really solid win for the studio, for sure. And what about the critics? Well, they loved it. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, a whopping 81% of more than 200 critics gave it a thumbs up. That gets it a certified fresh rating, which is a big deal.
The general consensus on the site really nails it. It talks about getting an adrenaline shot from the charm of Jack Quaid and Amber Midthunder, and that Novocaine is, and I quote, the opposite of a pain to watch. Gotta love a good pun. But, for the full story, we should look at Metacritic too. There, it got a 58 out of 100. That's more in the mixed or average territory. So what that tells us is, yeah, most critics really enjoyed it, but it wasn't a home run for everybody. Some folks felt like it had this amazing premise, but maybe didn't quite stick the landing. And that really brings us right back to where we started, to that central question. We usually think of a hero's journey as being all about overcoming pain and enduring sacrifice. But a movie like Novocaine just flips that whole idea on its head. It makes you ask, what does it even mean to be a hero when you can't feel the physical pain? When the real battle isn't with your body, but with everything happening inside your head. It's a really cool idea to chew on. Thanks so much for checking out this explainer.